Hi everyone, my name is Kendrick and welcome to ENFP Mail. Today I get to interview Vic. So welcome, man.
Thank you. It's good to be here. And it's a huge honor to meet with you and talk to you.
Yeah, thanks, dude. So Vic, you got your type recently. Can you give us your full type?
The Se-Ti consume, sleep. What's the third one? So if I'm play last, then the third one would be blast. So consume, sleep, and then blast, and then play. And then double feminine.
You are the most introverted ESTP type of all, like period.
Yeah, I guess. I never even remotely considered being an ESTP because to me, ESTPs are, these tough, sporty guys or rebels or,
Yeah.
the stereotypical ESTPs that we always see. And so it's been a huge journey, I guess, to figure out what my type is. And I'm still trying to process this one.
Yeah, the stereotype is they're jocks. They're usually some kind of performer.
Yeah. I mean, I like sports and running and stuff, but I've never been this super athletic, all-American jock kind of guy.
Well, you are double feminine, so you're not like the masculine feminine or double masculine type, right? You don't have like that masculine SE, so it's gonna be different. Well, before we talk about the sexual modalities, how did you what did you think and how did you feel when you got your results back?
All right, I feel strange, and what do I think? It makes sense. Like as I began to deconstruct it. So I'm still trying to learn the OPS terms because I come from different MBTI backgrounds. So when I saw the results, okay, consume and sleep. So that makes me double activated TI and NI. And they're both masculine. So to the untrained MBTI eyes, that would kind of make me an INTP, INTJ, INFJ, something introverted IJ or IP. So that's what I always thought that I was in the past. So I really started getting more into this. So to get back to your original questions, how do I think it feels? Yeah, feeling wise, I guess I'll take ESTP as a type, but it just feels weird. It's not a type that I even remotely considered. I thought I was going to be like SEFI or FISC or something. Yeah.
It's all good, man. I sent you a message, just kind of a little bit windy, but it's okay. So
maybe if I turn this way, I'll have my back facing against the wind.
Sure. Well,
how's that?
Well, we'll find out in a second, but it's all good. So
if I muffle it like that.
Sure.
Yeah, there we go.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, on the like you said, on the untrained eye, you would come across as very like INFJ, INTJ like, because of the masculine NI, and also the TI. Although you're very chaotic, that's why you cannot be those type. Like
right.
Even before we start this interview, you're already causing a lot of chaos, which is it's all good, right? It's like SE chaos. So it's like you cannot hide it, even though you act like an IJ. you like your true nature is an EP.
I know, right? It drives my wife nuts here. She tells me every day, like, hey, you need to organize, you need to plan. And I'm like, I'm trying.
Well, let's start with that. So let's talk about your double masculine functions in a bit, but we start with your feminine SE. So you have feminine SE. This is your first function. And this is responsible for gathering facts or things in general, but it's in a feminine state. So how do you experience that and how do you use that?
Do I use feminine SE? First of all, what is feminine SE? I never fully understood that term. I guess my interpretation of it is I'm always curious. I always like to try new things. Like every time I travel, I always want to try like a new restaurant, a new place. Like I make it a goal never to eat at a place that I can get here in Utah, where I'm based out of, unless it's a chain restaurant that's outside Salt Lake City area, then I'll try it. Like when I went to Texas, I tried Whataburger for the first time. That was good. Or when I go to California, I try Church's chicken. But yeah, using, if I understood feminine SC correctly, it's trying out new things and always learning new things and traveling to new places.
Because it's feminine, do you also forget like facts all the time? Like, do you have a bad memory when it comes to details?
Yeah. Like people will say, I just told you, like I said this. And I'm like, you did? And then they get mad because I forgot that I said this or that they told me this.
Right. And it's also bad with time. Are you bad with time, would you say? Do you forget?
I'm always late. I tried my best to be on time today and have everything ready. And I even kept you waiting a little bit, getting my sweater. And
Yeah.
my daughter, who loves to play in the balcony out here.
Yeah.
But yeah, bad with
Well,
time.
thank you for making that effort. I appreciate that.
No problem.
It's
Actually, I better check on her real quick, make sure she's not climbing anywhere. Okay, she's good. Sometimes she'll climb on tables or chairs, and like a split second, if I'm not there, she'll fall down.
Oh no.
Thankfully, she hasn't fallen down, but I guess I don't know what function that is, that I'm paranoid, I guess.
Yeah, maybe that's probably your SE, like live action SE right there. You're like checking up to see, what's happening.
Oh, here's my wife and my daughter right now.
Oh, hello.
Saludos. Say hi to Kendrick. Okay. Well, I guess my wife's gonna join me. My daughter's gonna join me in the balcony.
It's all
Gotta
good.
practice my play last and let my daughter play with us. There she is. Say hi. Nope.
Your daughter's also playing.
I know, she and I are so alike. She doesn't really pay attention to people. She's just in her own world and running around.
Yeah, she probably got it from you.
Yeah.
So you have TI second. It's masculine. So talk about your masculine TI, your identity. Your truths.
My identities, my truths. Oh boy. I guess we're unconscious to our savior functions. I guess I am who I am, and I wanted to figure out what my type was so I can make goals for the summer to improve myself in my type.
I can give you some examples. Maybe that will help.
Yeah.
Like what's his name? Joe Biden. He's also an ESTP like you. I don't know if you saw their video in the class, and they talk about how he has like, kind of like who he is, his identity. He's like, I don't know. I forgot the exact list, but he said he was an athlete. He was, a family person or something. And he had those like labels. I have a friend too. I think he's an ISTP, same thing. He said, for him, it's like, yeah, I want the freedom to do this. I want the freedom to do that, blah, blah. So they have like a, they're like identity, but it's kind of like a truth, but it's their personal truth. So do you have anything like that? Like, I know I'm not an ESTP, so you would have to fill in the blanks for me.
Okay. I'm gonna go inside here so my wife can play with my daughter out there. I'll still keep an eye out on them. Okay, I have a lot of personal values that I follow by, which is why I thought I was FI, but I guess TI can also be personal values in a way. I don't know how to describe this, man. I'm a family man for sure. I really care about my wife and my daughter. And I want to make sure that I'm a good person and make sure I do things right. And I also want to enjoy my life to the fullest, because one of my biggest fears is waking up and realizing all this time has passed by and I didn't make the most of it, or I live with regrets. So that's why I want to every day live my life to its fullest. I don't know if that counts as masculine TI truths.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, it's personal, so it's whatever it is that works for you.
And I'm a huge space nerd, so I guess I'll call myself a space nerd. No, nerd, it's not a label I would attach, that I thought I would attach to ESTPs, but I guess there are ESTP nerds out there and I'm one of them.
Yeah. Well, you're NT second, right? So you are double masculine nerd,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's talk
I'm
about your NT sleep. How do you use your NT sleep? Like, that's going to be a lot of conserving your energy, but how do you because it's using your NI a lot, and you're an interesting case because you have double activated NI for an ESTP. So you are going to be aware of planning, but because there's a
yeah.
TI component to it, not only are you going to be aware of planning, you're going to be very meticulous and efficient with your planning. So talk about that with your NT sleep.
Oh, that's okay. I can explain this. So yes, I always want to plan everything ahead and make sure everything goes well. Now, executing the plan is a whole different story, but I always have this inclination to make sure that everything goes right. Right now, actually, me and my wife are moving out of state because my job wants me to move out there to the East Coast. I'll tell you off script what state that'll be, but suffice to say it's anyway. So I want to make sure that everything goes well, and I'll even write down and say, okay, I want this done by this date, and I will make if I don't write down the date that it's going to happen. So let's say on my calendar, I want to ship my car on this day. So I'll write it down. Otherwise, I'm either going to forget or it's going to happen later. So I find that writing things down will definitely help accomplish things more. That makes sense. And back when I was younger, let's say back in my college days, I have a master's degree in aerospace and a bachelor's in mechanical engineering. I was pretty obsessive with planning what my majors are, what my classes are, all the way out to the semesters. But then being the SC gatherer that I am, I wanted to like double major and minor in this and take all these electives. So I'm like, okay, how do I squeeze all these classes in? And I would even go obsess and bug the professors and teachers on, hey, if I want to take this class, what do I need to do here first? And so I would create plans like that. And then also with my finances and with my budget, every month I'd go through and kind of revamp the whole budget. And my wife even says, hey, why are you spending 2 hours on the budget? That should only take you 10 minutes. And I'm like, I know, but I'm just experimenting here. I want to simplify it this way. Oh, I want to try this new way. Or I'll read a new book and be like, oh, I like this method, like Dave Ramsey's method. And so I'll go that route. And then if I read T. Harv Eker's method and it's jars, and I'll try it that way. And so it's like I want to narrow down and plan, but at the same time I want to explore. It's a weird thing. I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah, you're definitely interesting because you're an EP with a lot of, I guess, IJ tendency, kind of, a little bit.
So it's like I want to IJ this direction, but then I want to IJ that direction, and then that direction.
Yeah, you want to IJ. You want to IJ, but you're channel changing also. So it's kind of it's like a weird. You're like a weird like hybrid type,
Yeah. And in college, my buddy got into P90X by Tony Horton. I did watch the typing video for that class.
Yeah.
And then a few weeks in, I'm like, I want to try Insanity. And so I redid the whole exercise schedule and tried to go for Shanti's Insanity. And then I would reschedule and redo this. And so I have a hard time sticking to one plan, but I do like to plan ahead. I guess my mind gets too bored or discouraged or something.
Right. So you're still an EP and you still want to wing it and you still want to channel change, but you like planning. So you like planning even though you'll probably channel change after you finish all the planning. So you enjoy the process of planning, even though even though you're gonna break the plan because you're still an EP.
Exactly, like with trips and stuff. If it's a last minute trip, I'm like, I'm down, but give me like an hour to pack my stuff and plan what I want to take.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Cool, man. Like, yeah, you're doing a lot of processing in your head before you jump into something. Like, you will jump into it because you're still an EP, but then you'll process it first before you complete the jump. So you're already committed to the jump, but then you'll take time to process first before you complete the jump.
Yeah.
There was a video that they made in class on David.
Calculated risk taker, I guess you can call it.
Yeah. You know what? I like that word, calculated risk taker. I think that's the best way to describe NT sleep. I thank you for that. That is so good. Yeah. You guys with NT sleep are so good at taking calculated risk. I think that's definitely your strength. Those that have it in a savior state.
Well, can I share a story with that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so back in 2013, I went to Venezuela. It's a country I was born.
You're Venezuelan?
Uh-huh. I know I'm super white because I got all the white recessive traits from my parents.
Yeah.
And my mom is white like me. And if you saw my daughter, she's white like me. Okay. Anyways, I wanted to travel. Go on. What's that?
Your wife also Venezuelan?
Yeah. She's full Venezuelan. She's only been here for years. I've been in the States since I was like 5 years old, and I'm 33 now. So do the math. That's 27 years, 28 years.
Keep going. I'm just taking notes on what you said. That was so good. I love it. So I'm just taking notes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, keep going.
Yeah, so I wanted to travel to Venezuela. This was right. I don't know how familiar you are with the crisis over there, but the country's gone through hyperinflation and a lot of crime. It's pretty dirty. It's a beautiful country, but not a good place to go. And so I went right before all that crisis took place. But then I also read about how dangerous the country was. And a part of me wanted to go, but a part of me was terrified. And I've been holding off the trip for many years before just because I was scared. And so I went with my buddies to Tijuana, Mexico, which was, I looked at the statistics, my ST gathering, consume, whatever you call it. And the crime rate was about the equivalent to Venezuela. And I'm like, I felt fine in Tijuana. So in Venezuela, I had to pack all my stuff and make sure that I strategically hid my credit cards across different wallets in case I got snatched. Then I have a backup. And then I even had to systematically decide how I was going to hide the money, because the security officials at the airport are very corrupt, and they'll search through your bags and to see if you have any currency. And so I hid my US dollars inside a black folder that had a pocket inside that at first sight, it doesn't look like it has a pocket. And so as I was checking out, about to leave Venezuela back in November 2013, the security guy singled me out, and he grabbed my bag and he started emptying one by one, grabbing each book, flipping it by the pages, and then asking me all these questions like, where are you coming from? Where did you stay? What are you doing here? Why did you come to Venezuela? And he was just searching through all my stuff and searching through the binders and searching through papers. I'm like, oh no, he's gonna confiscate my dollars. And then he couldn't find what he was looking for. So he just grabbed my stuff, threw it down. Okay, fine, here you go, get out. And in my head, I'm like, he's gonna like plant drugs or something, and I'll be another banged up abroad case in Venezuela like Josh Holt. But, and just anyways, that NI, I guess that intuition told me like, hey, you need to hide these dollars here in this spot. And so luckily I narrowly escaped what could have been, something worse, but that was my NT sleep story with traveling.
Where did you hide it? That he didn't see it.
Let's see. I'll pull out the black folder here and I'll show you. I don't think that security guard is gonna even watch this or care about OPS.
I like how you're so aware of the chaos. Like, this is not likely to happen. Like, you're completely like chill with it.
Yeah.
And I like how the security is the bad guy, the police. Like that's the
right.
Yeah, that's definitely an EP kind of story, because I completely relate to your story.
Right. I mean, if you could trust them and they did their job right, okay, sure, I'll show them, give them what they asked, and then move on. But no, these security guys in Venezuela, they'll steal.
Yeah, let's see.
Okay, so this is the black binder, right? I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah.
And so he was just flipping through the page like that, and he was digging through the pockets.
Yeah.
And he was just going through this all over the place. And then he threw it, and he's like, but what he doesn't know is that in here, there's a pocket, and I hid it in there. Right now, it's just an old check here, but I would just hide it like that. But at plain sight, it doesn't even look like a pocket. It just looks like something that you sew on.
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't look like a pocket.
But the guy was searching through, like in here, pulling out papers and asking me. And then he was flipping through like that. And I think he even like opened this and took it out and started looking inside right here.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is my hero binder.
It's your anti-police corruption binder.
Yep. Until one of them watches this recording, and then they'll search for everybody that has a binder like this.
Yeah. Yeah. I went to your country before. I've been to Venezuela back in.
You have?
Yeah, back in 2017. One of my favorite countries. Yeah, during the
you went into
yeah,
wow.
man.
Okay, so you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I did not fly to Caracas because I know that's gonna be bad news. So I went to Brazil first, and I crossed over from I went to Boa Vista in Brazil, and I went over to Santa Elena de Urien.
Oh.
I don't know if you know where that is, but it's the southern border of Venezuela.
Mhm.
Like I'm a big nature guy, so I went there to climb Mount Roraima in Venezuela.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah,
I'm
so that
jealous. I want to go there.
yeah, that border was pretty safe actually when I went there. I mean, there was one Venezuelan guy that was giving me like some sketchy looks, but for the most part, it was like the police, the officers there weren't even corrupt too. Like there was just a woman that asked me what I did for a living, right? So I told her like I work in the fitness industry, and then she said, "Oh, how do I lose weight?" And I told her like you can't eat carbs, no pasta, no like bread, whatever. And then she told me, "It's like I'd rather be fat," you know. So
That's something they would say. That's something they would say.
yeah. Yeah, and
I'd
then
lose weight, but I love hamburgers too much.
yeah, so and I thought that was a very interaction with like the locals, and I think because they're by the border of Brazil, they don't have like supply issues, so it wasn't as bad. But
Nice.
I did go deeper into Venezuela afterwards. I went to Ciudad Bolivar.
Uh-huh.
Uh, so like, the further I got deeper into Venezuela, I did see that it got progressively sketchier, and there was a lot of military checkpoint that was trying to like shake us for money. Um,
Yep.
I was
Did
tell-
they put you? Did they put you in the wall with your hands up and search your pockets and
no, they didn't. They just asked me what I
or
was doing.
tapped you?
Well, I just asked what I was doing. What I was doing there. I was told them I was a tourist. You know,
Okay.
and then
In 2017. Wow, well, that's impressive that you got in at
yeah,
that year. That's
they took my passport too and everything. They're trying to like hold it against me, but whatever.
yep.
Yeah, no. So there was like a police check. There was a military checkpoint every 50 kilometers. It was annoying. It's more annoying than anything.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we got to Ciudad Bolivar. I took a small plane that only fits 6 people, and I flew to
Mm-hmm.
Canaima National Park. And
Wow.
I saw Angel Falls. Oh my god, man, that is the most beautiful thing in the world. Like the world's highest waterfalls.
My wife's been there. I want to go there so bad.
Yeah, there was tourists though, surprisingly, not a lot, but there was some. Like there was a Japanese person, there was like Germans, Belgians, you know, Canadians like me, and I was like, oh, there's tourists here. I thought that was gonna be just me, but no, there's crazy people like me who actually went to Venezuela because like I wanted to see because Venezuela is, from in my opinion, has like some of the coolest nature things to see in the world. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so I really wanted to go. I was there for 11 days. I think it was. I loved it. I would totally go back once it's safer.
I'd totally do it.
Yeah.
I'll even come with you, and we'll go explore other parts of Venezuela
Yeah,
or
for
something.
sure, man. Yeah, I want to see that place where the lightning never ends. You know,
In Maracaibo, Catatumbo.
yeah, Lake Maracaibo. Yeah, I want to go there. Check out the beaches too.
See, my mom, she was born in Trujillo in the Western Andes, but she worked in Maracaibo and lived there for many years and met my dad.
Oh yeah.
And so I asked my mom, like, oh, what were you saying?
No, nothing.
Okay, I thought you could. So I asked her, like, oh, how's the Relámpagos de Catatumbo like? And she's like, oh, you see it every day over there. Like, it's nothing. Like, you just look out in the lake and you just see the lightning every day. And to her, it's like nothing. And I'm like, that's on my bucket list to see. And she's like, really? You want to go there just to see lightning? And I'm like, yeah.
Well,
My
we're
mom
not
is to
from
the east.
there, so for us it's like exciting, right? But for them, I guess it's like same old.
It's not, yeah. Like, I guess coming to Utah, to me, I see all the mountains all the time. And
Yeah.
to people out of state, it's like gorgeous. And the people come from all over the world to see the mountains and ski. And to me, it's like in my backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah, understandable. What part of Canada are you from, by the way?
Vancouver.
Oh, I went there a few years ago in 2016. One of my buddies who's now living in Vietnam used to work in Vancouver. He's and showed me around the city. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, every time I come back to Vancouver, I always say, "Oh my God, Vancouver is so nice. How come I never noticed this when I'm here?" You know. So yeah, I get you when you're saying about like, yeah, you look at your Utah, the mountains and stuff, and you're like, I don't notice it, but yeah, I mean, I've been to Utah twice already. I love Zion National Park, Bryce Canyon, all those places. So you know,
Yeah, those are great places.
yeah. Although that once there's a small town there called Tropic, like Bryce Canyon. It was full of weird people. Like yeah, it's like a weird ass like town, and everyone's staring at me and my girlfriend. I think we look like aliens to them. It was so weird, man. It was a scary experience. Like
Oh no.
their eyes was like bulging in a weird way. I'm like, are we gonna get crucified here? That's what I was thinking. Like I sleep in, I don't wake up till like 10 or 11 a.m. right? But when in that place, right at 6 a.m., I was out of there. I was like, screw this, you know.
Wow. Okay, I'm not going to Tropic Utah.
Yeah.
Scaring my friends away. No thanks.
Yeah. So cool, man. So thanks for sharing that story with the police and stuff in Venezuela in the airport, because that's definitely a very EP story. You know, like, oh, the police are the bad guy. They're gonna take my currency. I have the exact same fear when I went to your country. You know, I was scared those people were gonna take my money too, especially because I had the
Yeah.
Venezuelan currency. I had like so much of them, because when you chase the money, you have like shitload of them.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But they're in a bag, right? So
I had about 120 US dollars hidden in that pouch. They're hungry for the money.
yeah, no, I bet, man. There's a lot of vloggers going there right now too, which is kind of interesting to me. So
I guess because the title of hyperinflation and high crime and corruption and socialism catches their attention and they want to go check it out for a thrill.
well, it's good
So
for views, I think, if you're trying to, put out travel content.
because if they go to any other Latin American country, it's like, oh, okay, cool, Brazil, Colombia, but Venezuela, the no-go country, it's like, whoa, more views. Everyone wants to check it out.
Yeah, exactly, man. No, the IS is on that like crisis there that's happening there, with Maduro and stuff. So I'm telling you, I definitely, I'm definitely sucked into that. Like, if you start talking about that stuff, I'm definitely gonna get sucked in. So let's go change channel before I get sucked in, because this is something I'm super interested in, and I'll talk to you about for hours about this shit.
Okay.
Okay, so let's talk about your NF blast. So that's interesting. It's third. Usually a lot of ESTPs are blast last. You have it in a demon state, but you have access to it, so you can do NF blast, which is like, how do you use your NF blast?
Let's see. Before I watched your video on NF Blast, I didn't know what it was. But now I'm using NF Blast to teach people. I play the violin and the piano. And so I'm teaching one of my friends from my church the violin. And so I give her lessons a few times each week. I'm just kind of like thinking ahead of myself. I'm not just going through the lesson step by step. I'm thinking, okay, what's the big picture here? Why I want to get her out of this? Okay. And so then I structure my lesson accordingly. And ultimately, violin music is supposed to be fun. And so I want them to have a good experience learning and playing. And then sometimes, like, if I see somebody that's down or discouraged, I'll give them advice and tell them, like, I don't know how to describe it, but I end up motivating people. Just kind of telling them to look at the bright side and look at the blessings that life's given you. Oh, these bad things happen. Well, maybe it's for a reason. Maybe it's because of this. And my wife, I believe she's an INFJ blast. I'd have to have her get OP typed, but she only speaks Spanish. So unless Dave and Shan speak Spanish or yourself. But anyway, my wife was having a bad day. She went and took classes on how to fix her nails and paint them and stuff. And then she says, it's a lot harder than I thought. I don't think I can do this. And I'm like, if this is your dream and your passion, don't let the first class discourage you. Everybody starts slow. You just got to continue going at it, even if it takes you twice as long. And then she's like, yeah, you're right. But still, it's too hard. I don't know if I want to do it. I'm like, if that's what you want to do it. Like, and then she's like, yeah, you're right. And then she says, I want to take a class on how to bake cakes and stuff. I'm like, do not quit after the first lesson, please. Like, go at it for several months and practice a lot. Don't let the first few months and mess ups like discourage you, and determine if you're going to be good at this forever or not. Like, I guess there's like an adaptation phase that each person goes through when they learn something new. But then after they get to a point where they become enough to be dangerous and good, then at that point, a person should decide if they want to continue it or not. If they have the passion and they want to go for it. How's that for NF Blast?
Dude, that was so good. I love it. I'm so impressed. I think it's good coming from you, because I don't think an INFJ can explain what NF blast is because it's such a savior state. It's like you cannot. It's hard like earlier you were struggling to talk about your TI. Like it's such a savior state that it's difficult. But then the demon is something that you learn, right? So for you, you were able to explain it so beautifully. You know, like how you were like pumping up your wife, pumping up your students, the big picture. Um, you know, like what's the point of NF's also what's the point? So you're trying to tell them, well, what's the point of learning an instrument? Well, it's for happiness. You know, it's like you definitely hit all the chords there, no pun intended. You know, so that was so beautiful, man. I love it. So
thank you.
Yeah, I find it so interesting that like when like an INTJ or INFJ start to teach you that NT or NF blast, it's like it makes sense, but it's like at the same time they don't break it down as easy as someone that has it in a not last. People would have it last definitely will have a difficult time, but someone that has it in a second or third, usually it's like they can explain it, you know. And I think the way you explained it was very ST clear, which is it makes sense why you're also lead ST because you know you're clear, like no one's guessing what you're trying to say. You know, everything is crystal.
To be honest, I thought I was an ENFJ. I was the guy that asked about what's ST consume. And then you made a video answering my question. I'm like, oh, okay. And then when I got the type back, I'm like, wait, I'm ST consume? I thought that was my last function.
That's your first. You're doing that all day, man.
Yeah. Didn't even realize it.
Yeah, I was talking to my girlfriend just earlier today, and I think the best lawyers are probably someone that has ST consume, you know, because they're like gathering all the facts for the case, right? Obviously, someone that's info dominant, because if they're blast last, they're probably gonna lose still because they won't be able to present the case properly.
Yeah, that's what I do. I gather the facts all the time. I'm always asking people questions and asking people, oh, why'd you do this? Oh, what'd you do? Yeah, that's sometimes I'll even go through Facebook and kind of stalk everybody that comes on my feeds and just to see like what people are up to. Yeah. And then my wife's like, don't do that. That's stalking. And I'm like, Facebook is public.
Yeah, I think the word you're looking for is you're creeping on people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like that you're a double decider because you're kind of like, yeah, I do that. Yeah, whatever. You know, it's not like weird or anything. It's just like, yeah, I'm creeping with whatever. You know. So your play last though. That's very interesting. So what part of play last are you having trouble with? Is it like you run out of energy really quickly, or you don't want to expend your energy for the tribe? Like, what is the part?
That one kind of caught me by surprise because I thought I was consumed play when I first was trying to guess my own type. And so play last would mean it's conserving energy. I guess I'm always tired at the end of the day. So I guess that. But now come to think about it, play last would mean like, I don't know how to even explain or describe it. I couldn't tell you. If I knew, I could tell you.
What about the SF side? Do you have trouble being like the cool guy? You know, because SF's also cool, right? So.
See, that's another thing that caught me off guard as well. ESTPs are these cool, popular guys, the jocks, and I was not any of that.
Okay, there you go. So like I guess that's why you're SF last.
Like I thought I was like some INFJ, ENFJ, quiet guy or something, and so at least I got the right quadra. But yeah, just so my wife and my daughter are gonna come back inside. I don't know. I have a hard time, I guess, being well liked. I mean, people always tell me, "Oh, everybody likes you," but in my mind, I'm like, "What if people don't like me?" Or every time I talk to somebody, I'm like, "Crap, did I say something wrong? Are people gonna hate me for it?" And I guess it's just that fear of like the tribe ganging up on me because I offended somebody or acted too weird or strange or something.
Do you okay, the fear of tribe hate makes sense because you're gonna be very IP-ish as an ESTP just because you have the consume and sleep. I definitely see the sleep savior. It's very strong in you. Like when I'm talking to you, you're just constantly like taking in the sleep processing. It's like nonstop.
Yeah, I do that a lot. Sometimes I'll zone out and people will be like, "Hey, are you talking? Are you listening?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, sorry, I am."
Yeah, because I noticed like when I say something to you or when you consume something, you definitely like zone out right away. Double masculine sleep, right? You can't help it. You zone out because you need to process whatever was said, right? So it's like a never-ending consume, sleep, right? It's like,
yeah, I should be more play blasty here. Go for it. But
yeah,
it's hard.
Yeah, it might be hard for you unless you get drunk or something, because like when you when you drink, then you can use your fourth function, fourth animal.
There you go.
Yeah, that's probably why people drink, because it allows them to use the function that they can't, or function or animal that they can't use otherwise.
See, I don't drink at all. I don't consume alcohol at all. So I don't know what it would be like to go through that. A lot of energy drinks, maybe. Like when I have a lot of energy drinks, I get really excited and have a lot of energy. So I guess that counts.
Yeah, I guess the stimulant also works just as well for you. Yeah. They said that a lot of ESTPs and ESFPs, they don't believe in like intuition until they do like psychedelics and mushroom, and then finally they get access to their intuition. And so I think that's super interesting. However, for you, you have double activate Ni, so you don't need any of that stuff because you can, access that.
I will admit though that that intuition stuff was something that my mind just never grasped at all when I was younger. Like the whole, I used my intuition to guess. I'm like, you're just guessing. Back when I was younger, like in high school and even beginning college.
Yeah.
But then when I was around like maybe my early 20s, mid 20s, I watched The Secret for the first time by Rhonda Byrne. I don't know what her type is, but I guess that's a class suggestion to tell Dave and Shan. But where you really like start visualizing what you want, and I'm like, oh wow, this kind of works. And so I started practicing the intuition stuff more.
Yeah.
So, my wife just came in. She's like, it's really cold outside. Now I'm going back outside.
This is like so much channel changing.
I know. All right, channel outside.
No, I like it because it's like, like it's like I just pictured like Steve Irwin, the crocodile guy. He's like, well, hello, mate. Now we're gonna see this live specimen under natural habitat. It's for you. You're like an EP, right? It's like we're gonna see an EP in their natural habitat and how they behave on a regular basis. And then you're just like channel changing, like like nonstop. You're like, so as you can see, he had no problem changing channels. Like it's,
yeah.
yeah.
That's my role, I guess.
Okay, so I want to go back to the play last.
Oh yeah.
So it doesn't seem like you're bad at the pinging back and forth with the tribe, because part of play is like the ping pong kind of game, where I'll say something to you and then you'll take what I say, give it back to me, and add on your piece to it, and it's like a back and forth. So you don't seem to have a problem with that. From the sound of it, it seems like an energy issue and also the cool guy issue that you're having trouble with the SF. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's just the perception I'm getting from you.
Yeah, I was kind of the weird nerdy kid back in high school and college, and so I had to work like extra hard on how to be more SF popular cool. I hung out with popular people who were like amazing to talk to, and I just saw how chill and relaxed they were, and so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try to relax more because I get anxiety when I'm around people, hence why I thought I was an introvert for a long time.
Okay.
So, and then even like dressing better. Before I started dating my wife back in 2016, like my mom would always have me dress, like always picked out my clothes because I'm like, I don't know how to dress at all. I have no clue about fashion. And I just know, oh, I like this. This looks good. I like this. This looks cool, I guess. And people are like, no. And so my wife's like, yeah, you're changing. You're going to dress this way and this way. And I guess she's got higher SF play than I do, even though she's an INFJ.
Yeah. She might. Maybe she's a blast play INFJ.
Could be. She's really quiet though with people.
Oh.
But when she's on a roll and talks, she's pretty like direct, punchy, whatever you call it.
Oh, she has masculine decider also, eh?
She's masculine decider. Yep.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Masculine decider and feminine sensory. What is that? Is that visual?
Oh, your wife's visual?
But she always says, I'm a visual person. Like she'll look at something and can tell you if it looks good or not, or if this is appealing or not. I don't quite consider her double masculine, but I know she's not double feminine.
So would you say that you and your wife click well in that sense? Because you're going to be a tester visual and she'll be a visual tester. Would you say that's something that you both kind of share and understand? And if she is an INFJ, I guess same function stack as you as well. So there's a lot of like easy understanding between the both of you as a result. Would you say that sounds about right?
I think so. Like she and I are both like, oh, we want to check this out. We want to be careful what we do. But I'm a lot more impulsive than she is. Oh, my daughter took my water bottle. Great. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm kind of consumed sleeping now on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we connect, I guess, on a visual tester kind of basis. So mine's would be what? Tester visual, and she's visual tester? Visual, I don't know. I'm still trying to learn this audio stuff.
Yeah, so you would be a tester visual and she would be visual tester.
So tester visual.
Yeah.
Okay, so I test things first and then I see things.
Well, it doesn't have to be in that specific order, but you're gonna be more on the tester side, the guy that likes to experiment, try different things out. That's gonna be your number one. But when it comes to visual stuff, yeah, you can still learn pretty well with the visual. It's still gonna be pretty damn good, Not as good as your wife's, but it's gonna be pretty,
We went out to, like I said, I want to try new foods. So we went to the Joseph Smith Memorial Building in downtown Salt Lake City. And everybody tells me, you got to try the turkey pot pie. It's so good. And I'm like, okay, I got to try it. And so I went with my wife and her family and we all tried it. And then Mila, my wife's name, she looked at it and she's like, this looks disgusting. I'm not going to try this. I'm like, this is delicious. Like, you should try it. And she's like, no, I'm not going to eat it. It's gross. And everybody else was eating it and enjoying it. And it's legendary. It's worth the $7-8 for it. I think it's more now. But that's just how she rolls. When I make food and I want to try new recipes, like I have to make it look visually appealing for her so she can try it. Otherwise, nope. Even if it's super delicious, but if it looks like vomit, then she won't try it.
Oh, I see what's happening with her. The visual comes first. It has to look good. Without the visual appeal, nope.
That's why when we started dating, she's like, no, you're going to change your wardrobe. Right now I'm bald. I started losing hair when I was 22. And so when she met, my hair was buzzed, but I had this missing, but I had the side hair. And she's like, no, shave your head off completely. And I'm like, shave off what's left of my hair? She's like, trust me, you look a generation older if you keep it on. And then she even picked out my glasses too. I'm like, okay.
Your wife doesn't sound like an INFJ. She sounds like an ISFJ. She sounds like she's trying to like tell you what's cool. She's trying to control you to make you cooler because she didn't think you were cool. Like you didn't have like the right vibe.
You're not the first person to tell me that. I have an ENTP friend from another type community.
Yeah.
That also thinks my wife's an ISFJ.
Yeah, because she's like, oh, shave your head. Like she knew what was not cool, right? It's like your hair, your clothes. You're gonna change this. It's like so everything is about the SF, but she's doing it in a blaster state. Like this is what you need to do. It's like
good point. I never thought of it that way.
No, because if she was NF lead, INFJ, then she would be the one that's trying to control your behavior, not your appearance, your behavior, right? It could be a good way and a bad way, obviously. Obviously, you were doing it in the violin lessons with your students, right? So it could be something like that. Like if you're feeling down, she could be like, hey, you know what, man? You know what, Vic? Just think about the big picture, right? In the bigger scope of things, this is not really a problem. So, but she's not doing that. Instead, she's controlling your fashion,
Yeah. I guess when I'm down and stuff, she'll be like, well, for some reason this happened and that happened. And so you just gotta accept it. And I'm like, okay, that could be her NE aspiring.
Yeah, it could be the NE that's connecting the dots of something. I don't know. It's possible.
Dang, I really want to know more about OP. I'm watching all the classes and the lectures and stuff just so I can be able to type her. I had her take this online, I guess this 4-question OP test, and she got ESTJ. And I'm like, she's not an ESTJ.
It sounds to me from your just your description. I don't know her, that she has SF plus. That's just your description, you know. And there's 4 types that has SF plus, right? It's the ISFJ, ESFJ, what's the other ones? INTP and ENTP. So those will be the 4 types. Now your wife's not chaotic, so that takes out ENTP out of the picture.
Yeah, she's definitely not an ENTP.
Your description doesn't seem like she has decider problems, and she seems to be type of herself. So that leaves ISFJ and ESFJ. So those would be the 2, I think, that she's most likely. I don't know. I haven't spoken to her.
She could be a really introverted ESFJ. I've considered that one, but I don't know.
Does she have people problems or things problem? Is she scared of chaos, or is she scared about like not knowing herself?
I would say chaos. She hates chaos. Like when we traveled to Yellowstone back several years ago with my family, like my mom, I believe she's also an ESTP.
Yeah.
And she likes to plan things just like in the moment. And my wife likes to have everything written down and organized and say, okay, this day we're going to buy this food. My mom's like, you know what? What's the point of having a plan? Let's just go buy the food and go. My wife was pissed. And she's like, okay, you know what? Screw this. I'm not going to help you guys. And just let you guys run the trip. And the trip was a lot of fun. I loved it, but it was too chaotic for her.
Yeah, it sounds like your wife definitely has masculine DE, like masculine with a tribe. It's like, screw you guys. Like, she's just like so, from your description, I don't know her, obviously, like I said. My Spanish is terrible. So I know survival Spanish. You can throw me in any Spanish country, I won't die. But like,
you got through Venezuela.
yeah, I was surprised. I was having conversation with people in Venezuela in like terrible Spanish.
Yeah. No, Venezuelans, like the people, they love it when visitors come. Very warm, hospitable people.
Yeah, man.
The government.
I'll tell you a funny story about that. Like, so I was in Canaima National Park, and there was this Venezuelan girl who met a Swiss guy. So they're now getting married. It's kind of cool because neither of them speaks English. So they're forced to speak shitty English to each other. To date each other. Because she speaks Spanish and he speaks Swiss, right? Which is German, pretty much.
Yep.
But she doesn't know German and he doesn't know Spanish. So the middle ground is English, right? Because everyone knows some English, right? But their English is both their English is shit, right?
Anyways, go pick this up now. Oh no, this. So, it's fun to watch.
So she's talking to me, right? And then she tells me that there's like a pretty sizable Chinese population in Venezuela. And I was like, really? She's like, yeah, there's a lot of them. There's like, they speak Cantonese or something. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. She's like, yeah, the Venezuelan people, the criminals, they don't hurt them. I was like, really? How come? She's like, because I fucking love Chinese food. We fucking love Chinese food. That's what she said to me, right? I'm just laughing my ass off. I was like, oh, okay, I see. Okay, fair enough. You know, probably lots of testers in Venezuela. They love to try different foods. So they're like, no, let's not hurt those guys. Otherwise, we don't get our barbecue pork with rice. You know, like
it's weird with them because the Venezuelans, they complain about they call them los chinos. Anybody who's Asian looking is a chino, even though they could be Japanese, Korean, or whatever.
Right.
They say they're rude and stuff. And so then my Chinese is very limited and broken. I don't know how familiar you are with Chinese.
Yeah, a little bit. I think as I'm Chinese, but I don't know how to speak because I grew up in Canada. But
ABC, Canadian born Chinese. So you'd be a CBC.
I'm not born here. I'm born in the Philippines.
CBP. Okay.
Yeah. No, I was born in the Philippines, so I can speak Tagalog. But I know more Spanish than Chinese, I think, because Tagalog is 15% Spanish. So
okay.
Yeah. Like
so I spoke like just very limited broken Chinese, like 你会说英文吗? Do you speak Chinese? And the guy looks at me and says, yes. And then I said like some words in Cantonese to this couple that was running a small shop, and they got all excited and started talking to me in Cantonese. And I'm like, whoa, slow down. I don't speak this. And then my family, they're like, wow, the Chinese people are really nice to you. I'm like, yeah, just talk to them in their language and they'll open up to you.
I wonder if that's what happened to me when I went to Venezuela, because I tried to speak Spanish, even though my Spanish is trash. Like I tried. I put the effort in, you know.
Oh yeah. And how did they treat you?
No, it was great. I remember I ate street food in Venezuela. I like went to those roadside street. I was paranoid the whole time. I was like, someone has a gun here. They're gonna shoot me. You know,
Yeah.
that's the whole time I was there. That's what I was thinking in my head, right? What if these people has a gun? They're gonna gun me down. You know. um, and then yeah, so I'm ordering food, right? They're like, oh, what do you want? I'm like, oh, I want the pollo, right? You
Mhm.
know, and then after I eat it, they're like, do you like it? I guess they say te gusta or something. And then I'm like, and then I said, yeah, muy bien, you know. And then the
Mhm.
guy is like so friendly. He's like, okay, have another one. He takes his giant ass fork, gives me another chicken. I'm like, oh fuck, I'm so full. I don't want to eat another bite.
Yeah, they'll do that. They'll do that. ¿Te gustó? Sí. Aquí está más. More.
Yeah, I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm so, I didn't want to eat Ruiz, so I ate it. But I was like, I was dying after. I was like, oh my god, it's too much barbecue chicken.
Yeah, they'll
You know?
stuff you.
Yeah. All right, cool, man. Let's see. What other question that I have missed to ask you? Talk about your fear of. So you're kind of weird because you're double activated NI, so you don't have the same problem as the typical EP. But do you still have a little bit of that, like
Channel
the
change.
yeah, like the bad guy is like the big corporation or the man or the police,
Yes.
the government. Like, is that still the bad guy to you?
Not like I have my sister. I don't know what her type is. She says she's an ENTP, but I think she's a double masculine ENFP.
Yeah.
But she always talks about, the stupid government are corrupt and they want to steal from us, and we got to tax the corporation and the rich. And I'm like, no, we don't. So I don't resonate with that.
Okay.
But I never liked the idea of, I hope I don't get fired for saying this because I love my job and I want to stay. But I never liked the idea of working for a boss and being in a desk all day for 8 hours a day. I want to like do my own business and be an entrepreneur. And so I guess from that end, let's see, at a previous job that I had several years ago, I told a coworker, I'm like, I think it's dumb that government subcontracted jobs now like have us is publicly traded and make money because like a government, they give them a fixed amount of dollars to say, okay, here you go. And then the company will, the more money they save by exploiting their workers, then that's more profit that the company gets. And that's more money for the shareholders. And in my head, I guess if I'm an EST, I guess I'm an ESTP, so that's TE critic. I don't know if OPS does critic functions, but I didn't like that idea of let's make the workers, the salaried workers that still make their money working 40 hours a week, let's make them work 60 hours a week, more hours, more output, and that's more money the company saves. And I had a former boss at a meeting was bragging about the Air Force program team. Right now, I don't work for the Air Force. I work for the Navy. I love those guys, but he was saying that thanks to you guys, our program saved a few $1,000,000. And at that point, I didn't say it, obviously, I'm not going to say it, but in my head, I wanted to say, oh yeah, why don't you pass some of that savings on to the employees and give them a bonus? And so I told the coworker, I'm like, I'm going to say that. And they're like, no, don't say it. Just those kind of things just triggers me. Yeah, a company, corporations should make their money and the shareholders, yes, but I think it should also help the employees too.
All right, Vic. Yeah, sorry. Finish up your thought.
Oh, the company that I'm at now is really good. They gave us a really nice bonus earlier this year. So thank you, company that I work for now.
Yeah, you're definitely double decider, man. You'll shit in the company and then you'll suck up to them right after. It's like so balanced, I love it. It's good. I like your method too because it's like you shit on them and you suck up. It's good. It's great.
Although it was a different company that I worked in the past that I was saying the bad things. The good company that I'm working for now, no, I don't have anything bad to say about them.
Okay, that's good.
So two different companies.
Okay, dude. So we're gonna wrap up the interview soon. I have two last questions for you, and then we'll wrap it up.
Okay.
So my first one for you is you are NT inside. So what is that like? Like what kind of like you said earlier you said you felt like you're a nerd, which makes sense if you're NT inside, right? But and then you're also creating the most efficient route to achieve something in your life, although you channel change, so you don't completely follow it, but you have the plan. Is there anything else about NT that you haven't mentioned about your NT sleep that you normally do? Such as, I'll give you an example. Do you have a lot of personal reasons that you have whenever you do something, but you don't care to share that personal reason with anyone? You know,
All the time.
Yeah.
I always have. Yeah, sure. Sure. Okay. Personal reasons. So my wife would always ask me, why did you do this? And I'm like, because they're my reasons. And now I have to go explain it, which is why I thought I was T as a demon, because I thought like feeling types, when they have to explain themselves, it'd give their reasons. But I'm realizing now that TI users don't like to explain their reasons out loud. Hence why it's introverted. And since it's masculine, it's like, these are my reasons because it is what it is. It's what I have in my head. Like I went through my old engineering textbooks and I started going through like every problem. It was during the COVID pandemic and I got really bored. And then people would ask me like, why are you doing that? School's over. I'm like, cause that's what I want to do. And I started like coding up a bunch of stuff in C++ and solving these problems. And then I'm like, you know what? I can do it better. I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to change the code to do it this way. I'm going to try it in this language and just following my own, I guess, structure. Now that I don't have a professor saying like, oh, you're doing it wrong, do it this way. So it's kind of like my own internal freedom, if that makes sense.
And you enjoy doing that then?
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, no, I would want to shoot myself. The stuff that you just explained, I would hate that.
To ENFPs, it'd be like suicide.
Yeah, no, I took C++ in grade 12 in high school, and I just hated. I couldn't stand it. Last question for you is also in regards to the anti-sleep. So, would you say that whenever you make a decision from within, that you try to make it as logical as possible? You know,
Yes.
So it seems like it's an emotional decision, but really it's not. It's really like a well thought out, logical, efficient, and effective decision. Would you say that's something that you do?
Yes, absolutely.
And so before sorry to cut you off, just I have a follow up. So and you can answer the whole thing. And part of
okay.
NT is also being strategic and coming up with a strategy. So when you're having that really well thought out logical sequence on doing something, how strategic are you when it comes to that too? So go ahead.
Mind map, planning it in my head. Okay, how am I going to save money? How can I make sure that this is more efficient? Study out the steps. And sometimes it comes at the point of the tribe thinking that I'm being too cheap. So like when I was planning like family trips with my family in the past, I would come up with like routes and stuff that would allow us to see more places and save money. And my dad, I believe he's in ESFP of some sort, he doesn't like the idea of me being cheap. You know what? Stop being cheap with yourself and your family. Be more generous and give. And I'm like, I'm just trying to help you guys by making this more efficient. There's just kind of stuff like that. Trying to, I guess, optimize, which is why I thought I was TE.
Yeah.
But I guess that's Ni+Ti.
All right, cool, Vic. Thanks for sharing that. I got a lot of gold nuggets from you. I'm working on making that anti-sleep video right now. So, I'm trying to get it from you guys that has it. So really appreciate your input on that. And thanks for coming out to do the interview. I know you're play last, but hey, you did it. So that's super awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, take care and have a nice day. And we'll see you around.
All right, man. See you around.